The salvage beacon pulsed a steady red against the vast darkness of space, its signal barely visible through the dense field of wreckage that stretched for thousands of kilometers. Maya Chen guided her small salvage vessel between twisted hulks of ancient spacecraft, her eyes scanning the debris for anything valuable enough to justify the risk of operating in this restricted sector. "Damn it, Hawking's going to kill me for this," she muttered, adjusting her navigation controls as her ship's sensors picked up another massive piece of debris. At 26, Maya was the youngest licensed salvage pilot in the Outer Rim, and probably the most reckless, according to her mentor. But she hadn't earned her reputation by playing it safe. The ship's warning system chirped, detecting unusual energy readings from deeper within the debris field. Maya leaned forward, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the readout. According to her charts, this sector had been deemed archaeologically significant by the Terran Science Council, their fancy way of saying, "keep out." But the energy signature she was picking up wasn't consistent with ancient tech. It was active, pulsing, alive. "Computer, analyze that signal," she commanded, steering her ship closer to the source. "What are we looking at?" "Energy signature unknown." The computer responded in its flat monotone. "Pattern suggests artificial origin. Warning. Signal strength increasing." Maya's heart quickened as she maneuvered around a massive chunk of hull plating. And there it was, a ship unlike anything she'd ever seen. Its sleek, almost organic lines stood in stark contrast to the jagged wreckage surrounding it. The vessel was maybe twice the size of her salvage ship, its dark hull unmarked by time or debris. "That's impossible," she whispered. The ship looked pristine, as if it had been placed here yesterday. Yet, according to her sensors, it was generating no heat, no power readings, dead in space. Her comm unit crackled. "Salvage Vessel Delta 7, this is TSC security. You are in violation of restricted space. Turn back immediately." Maya ignored the warning, transfixed by the mysterious ship. As she watched, lines of soft blue light began to trace across its hull, like circuits coming to life. Her own ship's systems suddenly flickered, displays blinking out before stabilizing. "Final warning, Delta 7. Turn back or..." The comm went dead as a wave of energy pulsed from the alien vessel. Maya's ship shuddered, caught in some kind of field. She tried to fire her thrusters, but nothing responded. The mysterious ship was pulling her in. "Computer, emergency protocols," she shouted, fingers flying over the controls. "Systems unresponsive," the computer replied calmly. "Unknown energy field detected. Hull integrity stable." Maya watched helplessly as her ship was drawn closer to the alien vessel. The blue lines across its surface were glowing brighter now, forming intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid light. As the distance closed, a section of the hull simply dissolved, revealing a hangar bay that glowed with the same ethereal blue light. Her ship settled gently onto the deck, the energy field dissipating. Emergency lights bathed the cockpit in red as her systems slowly came back online. According to her sensors, the atmosphere in the hangar was breathable. She should wait for rescue, she knew. Should call for help. But the mysteries surrounding this ship pulled at her with an almost physical force. Maya sealed her suit anyway. She hadn't survived this long by being careless, and made her way to the airlock. As she cycled through, her suit's systems began picking up more detailed readings from the alien ship. The technology was like nothing in any database she'd ever encountered. Her boots touched the deck with a soft metallic click. The hangar was eerily empty, its walls smooth and featureless except for the flowing lines of blue light. As she watched, the patterns shifted, seeming to respond to her presence. A doorway materialized in the far wall. "Well," she muttered, "that's not ominous at all." She took a step forward, and the ship came alive around her. Holographic displays sprang into existence, filling the air with streams of alien text that shifted and flowed like water. A soft hum vibrated through the deck plates, rising in pitch until it matched her heartbeat perfectly. "Welcome, inheritor," a voice said, seeming to come from everywhere at once. It spoke perfect standard, though with an odd harmonic quality that made Maya's skin prickle. "We have waited a very long time for one such as you." Maya's breath caught in her throat. She had come looking for salvage, for ancient tech she could sell to the highest bidder. Instead, she had found something that defied explanation. A ship that was clearly watching her, studying her, judging her against some unknown criteria. "What?" She swallowed hard, steadying her voice. "What do you mean, one such as me?" The holographic display swirled around her, coalescing into a single image, a double helix of DNA, but unlike any human genetic structure she'd ever seen. Portions of it glowed with the same blue light that pulsed through the ship's systems. "You carry the key," the voice said. "The seed we planted in your species generations ago. Now it has flowered, and none too soon. The darkness approaches, inheritor. Will you accept your role in what is to come?" Maya stared at the twisted strands of light that apparently represented her own altered DNA, her mind racing. She had come here seeking profit, but had stumbled onto something far bigger, a mystery that apparently stretched back to the very origins of humanity itself. "I don't understand," she said. "What darkness? What role?" The ship's response was immediate and chilling. "The role of salvation, inheritor. For your species, and for all who would stand against the void." The holographic displays shifted again, showing her images that made her blood run cold. Entire solar systems going dark, worlds being consumed by something that defied description. And through it all, that strange blue light, fighting back the darkness. Maya Chen had never considered herself a hero. She was a salvage pilot, a scavenger, someone who lived on the edges of civilized space. But standing there in that ancient hangar, watching the fate of galaxies play out before her eyes, she felt something shift inside her. The key the ship spoke of, perhaps, or maybe just the weight of destiny. "Show me," she said finally. "Show me everything." The ship hummed in response, and the universe opened up before her. The alien ship's interior pulsed with waves of blue light as Maya followed the holographic guide deeper into its mysterious depths. Each step took her further from the familiar confines of her salvage vessel, further from everything she thought she knew about humanity's place in the universe. "Your species was not ready to know the truth," the ship's voice explained, resonating through her bones. "But circumstances have forced our hand. The markers in your genetic code have activated ahead of schedule." Maya ran her fingers along a wall, watching ripples of light follow her touch. "These markers, you engineered them into us. Why?" "Insurance," the ship responded. "Your species showed promise. Adaptability, resilience, creativity. Qualities that would be needed when the darkness returned." A doorway materialized before them, opening into a vast, circular chamber. At its center stood a crystalline structure that seemed to hover in midair, crackling with barely contained energy. The blue light that permeated the ship appeared to flow from this source, like blood from a heart. "The neural bridge," the ship announced. "Through it, we can truly communicate. But I must warn you, the process is not without risk. Your mind may not be fully prepared for direct interface." Maya stared at the floating crystal, her heart pounding. "And if I refuse?" "Then you leave, return to your life, and when the darkness comes, your species faces extinction without understanding why." The ship's tone remained neutral, but Maya felt the weight of galaxies in those words. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "What do I need to do?" The crystal structure descended slowly until it hovered at eye level. As Maya watched, it began to reshape itself, forming what looked like a chair made of pure light. "Sit," the ship instructed. "Open your mind. The rest will follow." Maya removed her helmet, letting it fall to the deck with a clang that echoed through the chamber. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something else, something alien yet oddly familiar. She settled into the light chair, half expecting to fall through it. Instead, It felt solid, warm, almost alive. The crystal above her head began to pulse in time with her heartbeat. Streams of light flowed down, surrounding her in a cocoon of energy. Maya's vision blurred, reality dissolving into pure sensation. And then she was falling. Images flooded her mind. Vast cities of crystal and light, ships that dwarfed solar systems, beings of pure energy who shaped galaxies like clay. She saw the rise of her ancestors, watched as they were subtly guided, their DNA encoded with dormant potential. And she saw the darkness, a cancer in reality itself, consuming everything in its path. We were the guardians, the ship's voice echoed in her mind, but now it carried emotions, memories, an entire civilization's worth of knowledge. We stood watch over the younger races, protecting them as they grew. But the darkness was patient. It waited until we were stretched thin, our defenses weakened by millennia of peace. Then it struck. Maya watched helplessly as the ancient civilization fell. Their mighty ships, their crystal cities, their immortal bodies, all crumbled before the void. But they had planned for this, had scattered seeds throughout the galaxy, hidden weapons that would activate when needed. You are one such weapon, Maya Chen, the ship said. Your DNA contains fragments of our essence, waiting to be awakened. Through you, we can fight again. The vision shifted, showing her possible futures. In one, the darkness descended on Earth, humanity extinctioned without ever knowing what hit them. In another, she saw herself standing on the bridge of this very ship, leading a fleet of hybrid vessels. Human ingenuity merged with guardian technology. A warning klaxon shattered the vision. Maya gasped as reality reasserted itself, her body shaking with the neural overload. The ship's displays had shifted from blue to angry red. Multiple vessels approaching. The ship announced. Configuration unknown. Energy signatures suggest. It paused, and Maya felt a wave of what could only be described as dread emanate from the AI. They are touched by the darkness. Maya stumbled from the light chair, her mind still reeling from the neural interface. How? You said we had time. The timeline has accelerated. Your activation must have drawn their attention. Holographic displays materialized around her, showing a dozen sleek, black ships emerging from fold space. Their designs were organic, almost cancerous, a mockery of the Guardian vessel's elegant lines. They will attempt to board, the ship said. Their primary directive will be to destroy you before the transformation can complete. Transformation. Maya's head snapped up. What transformation? As if in answer, blue light began to crawl across her skin, tracing patterns that matched the ship's internal circuits. She felt power building inside her, reorganizing her on a cellular level. The ship's systems responded, interfaces appearing and disappearing faster than she could track. The neural bridge has begun the awakening, the ship explained. Your guardian heritage is becoming active. But the process takes time. Time we may not have. The enemy vessels were closing fast, their weapons charging. Maya could feel them now, like oil slicks on her consciousness. They radiated wrongness, an entropy that went beyond the physical. Can we run? She asked, already knowing the answer. Not without completing the transformation. You are now linked to this vessel's core systems. Separation would be fatal. Maya watched the approaching ships, her enhanced senses picking up details her human eyes never could. She saw the void stuff leaking from their hulls, the way reality itself seemed to warp around them. And she felt something else. Rage. Not her own, but the collected fury of an ancient race who had watched their civilization fall to these cosmic parasites. Then we fight, she said, surprised by the harmonics that had crept into her voice. Show me how to control the weapons. The ship's response was immediate. Interfaces sprang to life around her, connecting directly with her transformed nervous system. She felt the weapon systems as if they were extensions of her own body, humming with power that could shatter planets. We are not yet at full capacity, the ship warned. The transformation is only 30% complete. Maya's fingers, now traced with lines of living light, danced across the holographic controls. "It'll have to be enough. We're not dying here." The enemy fleet launched their first attack, void torpedoes that left trails of unlight in their wake. Maya felt rather than saw them coming, and the ship responded to her thoughts instantly. They dodged the initial salvo, retaliating with pulses of pure energy that cut through the darkness like knives. More vessels emerging from fold space, the ship reported. But these are different. Maya's enhanced vision picked them out immediately. Terran security vessels, led by a massive dreadnought, her father's ship. They must have tracked her salvage vessel's signature. "Well," she said, watching the human fleet approach the battlefield, "this should be interesting." Maya's enhanced consciousness processed the battlefield in microseconds, the void ships spreading out in attack formation, her father's dreadnought leading the Terran fleet on an intercept course, and her own vessel humming with power she barely understood. The transformation continued to ripple through her body, Guardian technology rewriting her on a fundamental level. "This is Admiral Chen to unknown vessel," her father's voice crackled over the comm. "Power down and prepare to be boarded. Maya, if you can hear this, please stand down." The concern in his voice almost broke her resolve, but the approaching void ships left no room for sentiment. "Dad, you need to get your fleet out of here," she responded, her voice carrying new harmonics that made it almost unrecognizable. "You don't know what you're dealing with." "Multiple targeting locks detected," the ship announced. "Void ships preparing to fire. Terran vessels charging weapons." Maya's fingers danced across the holographic controls, power building in the ship's systems. "Dad, please. These things, they're not like anything you fought before. They'll tear your fleet apart." As if to prove her point, the void ships launched their attack. Reality seemed to bend around their weapons, space itself twisting into knots of unlight. Maya reacted instinctively, her transformed consciousness working in perfect sync with the ship's eye. They dove through the barrage, Guardian tech blazing as they cut through the darkness. By the stars, she heard someone whisper over the open channel as her ship's counterattack scattered the void ships. The display of power seemed to give her father pause. "Maya, what's happening to you?" he demanded. "Our sensors. You're not reading as human anymore." "That's complicated," she replied, executing another impossible maneuver as the void ships regrouped. "But I'm still me, Dad. And right now, I'm trying to save everyone in this sector." The void ships shifted tactics, their hulls rippling like oil on water. Dark energy began to pool between them, forming a net that would trap anything it touched. Maya felt the wrongness of it in her newly enhanced bones. "They're trying to contain us," the ship warned. "The transformation is only 60% complete. We cannot risk capture." Maya's mind raced through possibilities, processing tactical data faster than any human could. The void net was closing from one direction, the Terran fleet blocking their escape from the other. But there was a third option, one that would prove either brilliant or suicidal. "Dad," she broadcast, "in about 10 seconds, I need you to order your fleet to execute a blind jump. Don't argue, just do it." Without waiting for his response, Maya drove her ship straight at the void net. Power surged through the Guardian tech systems, building to levels that made her transformed nerves sing. The void ships pressed their advantage, thinking they had her trapped. They didn't understand what they were dealing with. At the last possible moment, Maya triggered the ship's dimensional phase drive, not to escape, but to create a cascading resonance wave. The fabric of space-time rippled like a stone thrown into a pond, the wave amplified by the void net's own dark energy. "Terran fleet, jump now," she screamed into the comm. The wave hit the void ships just as her father's fleet vanished into fold space. Reality shuddered, and the dark vessels were thrown into chaos, their carefully constructed net collapsing in on itself. Maya didn't waste the opportunity, pushing her ship to speeds that would have torn a normal human mind apart. They burst into fold space, leaving the crippled void ships behind. But Maya knew the reprieve would be temporary. The darkness had found her, and it wouldn't stop hunting until she was dead or transformed completely. "Status report," she demanded, trying to ignore the way her skin now seemed to glow from within. "Transformation process at 75%, the ship responded. "But the dimensional phase has depleted our energy reserves. We require time to recharge." Maya nodded, watching the streams of data that flowed through her consciousness. "How long until the void ships recover?" "Unknown." The resonance wave disrupted their connection to the darkness. "But they will adapt. They always adapt." A new alert flashed across her awareness. A transmission from her father's dreadnought. Following in fold space at a safe distance, Maya accepted the call, bracing herself. "I've seen a lot in my years of service," Admiral Chen said quietly, "but nothing like what you just did. Those ships, they weren't human, were they?" "No," Maya replied. "And neither am I, not completely. Not anymore." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Dad, I know you have orders to bring me in. But right now, I'm the only thing standing between humanity and extinction." The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken words. Finally, her father sighed. "Tell me everything." So she did. She told him about the Guardians, about the markers in human DNA, about the darkness that threatened to consume everything. As she spoke, the transformation continued its work, turning her into something beyond human, a bridge between two civilizations. "Even if I believe you," her father said when she finished, "I can't just let you disappear into space. The Security Council will never accept." Multiple fold space ruptures detected. The ship interrupted. "The void ships have recovered. They've adapted to our phase frequency." Maya's enhanced senses picked up the approaching vessels. More than before, their hulls writhing with dark energy. They had learned from their defeat, grown stronger. The hunt was on. "Dad," she said, already plotting their next move, "I know you want to protect me. But right now, I need you to protect Earth. When the darkness comes in force, humanity will need every ship, every weapon you can muster." She could almost see him wrestling with the decision, the Admiral warring with the father. "How can you be sure you're right about this?" Maya looked down at her transformed hands, watching the patterns of light pulse in time with the ship's systems. "Because I can feel it, Dad. The Guardians sacrificed everything to give us a chance. I have to see this through." Another moment of silence. Then, "What do you need from me?" "Buy me time," she said. "Keep the Security Council off my back while I finish the transformation. And Dad, I love you." "Love you too, kid. Give them hell." The transmission cut off as the void ships burst into real space around them. Maya squared her shoulders, feeling power build in the Guardian tech systems. The next phase of the hunt was about to begin, and this time, she was ready for them. The fold space tunnel collapsed behind Maya's ship as they emerged in an uncharted sector, the void vessel's pursuit temporarily thwarted by their complex evasion pattern. Her transformed consciousness interfaced seamlessly with the ship's systems now, the final stages of her metamorphosis accelerating with each passing moment. "Ship status?" she asked, monitoring the cascade of data flowing through her awareness. "Energy reserves at 60%. Transformation process at 92% completion. Additional systems coming online." Maya felt it. New abilities awakening, ancient knowledge flooding her mind. The Guardians had encoded more than just genetic markers into humanity's DNA. They had hidden their entire legacy, waiting for the right moment, the right person. "Show me," she commanded, and the ship responded. The chamber around her transformed into a vast holographic display, showing the true history of human evolution. She saw the Guardians, beings of pure energy and infinite potential, discovering Earth millions of years ago. They recognized something in the primitive life forms that would become humanity, a spark of potential, a resilience that might one day be needed. "We were dying," the ship explained, its voice carrying centuries of grief. "The darkness had consumed too many of our worlds, corrupted too many of our kind. We needed a contingency plan. The hologram shifted, showing the Guardians subtly manipulating human development, not controlling it, but nurturing certain traits: adaptability, creativity, the ability to face impossible odds and somehow survive. You didn't just hide technology in our DNA, Maya realized, watching the pattern unfold. You hid yourselves, your consciousness, your memories. Yes, but it could only be accessed by one who carried the complete sequence, a perfect fusion of Guardian potential and human spirit. You. Maya absorbed this, feeling the weight of destiny settle onto her transformed shoulders. Why me? Out of all humanity, why was I the one? The ship's response was interrupted by a proximity alert. Multiple fold space ruptures were detected, but these were different from the void ships. The energy signatures were familiar. Terran vessels, the ship confirmed. Your father's fleet has followed our quantum wake. A transmission cut through their defenses, encrypted on a frequency that shouldn't have existed. Maya's enhanced senses recognized her father's voice, but there was something else in it, something ancient. Maya, Admiral Chen said, "We need to talk. There's something you should know about our family." The pieces clicked into place. Maya's transformation, her unique genetic sequence. It wasn't random chance. "You knew," she whispered. "All this time, you knew what I was." "Not everything," her father replied. "But enough. Your mother and I, we were part of something called the Guardian Protocol, a genetic preservation program stretching back generations." The ship's holographic displays shifted, showing Maya her own DNA structure. Within it, she could see the carefully preserved Guardian sequences, passed down through countless generations, refined and strengthened with each passing century. "The void ships are coming," the ship warned. "Multiple vectors. They've adapted to our defensive capabilities." Maya nodded, processing the tactical data even as she grappled with the revelations about her heritage. "How long do we have?" "Minutes. Their void drive signatures are masked, but I detect temporal distortions consistent with their approach." Maya, her father's voice cut through the strategic calculations. "There's more. The Security Council. Some of them are like us, descendants of other Guardian bloodlines, but they're divided on how to face the darkness. Some want to hide, to keep humanity ignorant until it's too late. And the others? We want to fight. But we needed a catalyst, someone who could awaken the full potential of Guardian technology. Someone like you." The ship's sensors blared another warning. The void ships were emerging from fold space, their hulls writhing with dark energy. But they weren't attacking. They were waiting. "They're trying to communicate," the ship announced, surprise coloring its artificial voice. A new signal cut through their defenses, carrying harmonics that made Maya's transformed DNA resonate. The voice that spoke was neither human nor Guardian, but something else entirely. "Child of two races," it said, its words carrying undertones of vast, cosmic power. "You stand at a crossroads. The transformation you undergo will remake you into something beyond either of your heritage. But consider carefully, are you prepared for the price of such power?" Maya felt the truth in those words. The transformation wasn't just changing her body or her mind. It was rewriting the very essence of what she was, creating something that had never existed before. "What price?" she asked, though part of her already knew the answer. "Isolation. Separation from all you have known. You will be neither human nor Guardian, but something new, something alone." The void ships hung in space, their dark energy contained for the moment. Maya looked at the tactical display, at her father's fleet holding position nearby, at the streams of data showing her transformation nearing completion. "You're wrong," she said finally. "I won't be alone." She gestured to her father's ships, to the Guardian vessel that had become an extension of herself. "I'll be a bridge between worlds." Isn't that what the Guardians wanted? Not just a weapon against the darkness, but a way to bring humanity into a larger universe. The void entity was silent for a long moment. When it spoke again, There was something like respect in its otherworldly voice. Perhaps. But know this, if you continue on this path, you will face challenges beyond anything your combined heritage has prepared you for. The darkness does not forgive, and it does not forget. Neither do I, Maya replied, feeling the last stages of her transformation begin to accelerate. And I'm done running. The void ship's hulls began to ripple, dark energy building to catastrophic levels. The time for talk was over. The final battle was about to begin, and Maya Chen, daughter of Earth, heir to the Guardians, bridge between worlds, was ready to face her destiny. The void ships surged forward as one, their dark energy weapons unleashing a barrage that warped the very fabric of space. Maya's transformation reached its final stage just as the attack hit, her consciousness expanding to encompass every system of her guardian vessel. She was no longer simply interfacing with the ship. She had become the ship, a perfect fusion of human intuition and guardian technology. All vessels, Battle Formation Delta. Admiral Chen's voice commanded over the fleet channel. Protect the guardian vessel at all costs. Maya watched the Terran ships move into position, their conventional weapons seeming almost primitive compared to the energies she now commanded. But there was strength in their presence, a reminder of everything she was fighting for. "Dad," she transmitted, her voice resonating with harmonics that made the void ship's hulls vibrate. "I need you to listen carefully. What I'm about to do, it's never been attempted before." She didn't wait for his response. Her transformed consciousness reached out, connecting with the Guardian technology hidden within the DNA of the Security Council members aboard the Terran vessels. She felt them respond, ancient power awakening after centuries of dormancy. "Children of Earth," she broadcast, her words carrying activation codes buried in humanity's genetic memory. "Remember who you are. Remember what sleeps within you." Across the Terran fleet, officers and crew members began to transform, not as completely as Maya, but enough to access the Guardian technology their ancestors had hidden within their ships. Systems that had appeared purely mechanical revealed their true nature, becoming hybrid interfaces of human innovation and Guardian power. The void entity's voice cut through the chaos, heavy with dark amusement. "Impressive, Bridgewalker. But awakening their potential will not save them. The darkness consumes all in time." Maya watched as the void ships began to merge, their hulls flowing together like liquid shadow. They were forming something massive, a construct of pure entropy that threatened to devour everything in its path. The temperature of space itself seemed to drop as reality warped around the growing void mass. "Maybe," Maya replied, feeling power build within her transformed systems. "But time is something you don't have." She had seen this moment in the ship's memories, the final protocol, the last resort that the Guardians had never had a chance to use. It required a perfect synthesis of both species, a bridge between worlds that could channel power from multiple dimensions simultaneously. Maya, her father's voice carried concern even through its new Guardian harmonics. "Whatever you're planning. Trust me, Dad. I know what I'm doing." She paused, watching the void mass grow. "And Dad, thanks for everything. For protecting me, for preparing me for this moment, even if I didn't know it." The void mass launched its attack, tendrils of unlight reaching out to consume everything in their path. Maya let them come. Her transformed consciousness stretched across dimensions, drawing power from spaces between spaces. The Guardian technology within the Terran fleet resonated with her energy, creating a harmonic field that made reality itself sing. "Now," she commanded, and the fleet responded as one. Energy cascaded between the ships, forming a lattice of pure light that caught the void tendrils and held them. Maya pushed her transformation to its absolute limit, becoming a conduit for forces that no single species was meant to control. The pain was extraordinary, but she held on, guided by both her human determination and her Guardian heritage. The void entity screamed, a sound that existed in frequencies beyond normal space-time. "What are you doing?" Exactly what the Guardians intended. Maya replied through gritted teeth, creating a bridge not just between species, but between states of reality. And you're about to learn why humanity was chosen for this role. She reached out with her transformed senses, touching the minds of every crew member in the fleet. She felt their fear, their courage, their unwavering determination to protect their homes and families. Most importantly, she felt their ability to adapt, to face the impossible, and find a way forward. The void mass tried to retreat, but it was too late. Maya had locked it in place with fields of pure energy, using the fleet's harmonic resonance to create a containment grid that even entropy couldn't escape. And then, drawing on power that made her very atoms scream, she began to compress it. Humanity's greatest strength, she broadcast, her words carrying through dimensions, isn't our technology or our potential for transformation. It's our ability to face the darkness, any darkness, and refuse to back down. The void mass imploded, crushed by forces that Maya barely understood even with her transformed consciousness. But instead of being destroyed, it was changed, converted into pure energy that flowed into the guardian systems of the fleet. The darkness hadn't been destroyed. It had been transformed, turned from a force of entropy into a source of power. As the last traces of void energy dissipated, Maya felt her transformation stabilize. She was something new now, neither human nor guardian but a true bridge between worlds. Through her connection to the fleet, she could feel others beginning to undergo their own transformations, each finding their own balance between their dual heritage. "It's over," she transmitted to her father. "The void ships are gone. The darkness, it's not destroyed, but it's changed. We changed it." Admiral Chen's reply carried pride and wonder in equal measure. "You did it, Maya. You showed us the way forward." Maya looked out at the fleet with her enhanced senses, seeing the potential awakening throughout humanity. The Guardians hadn't just hidden their technology in human DNA. They had hidden hope, a chance for both species to evolve into something greater than either could have been alone. "No, Dad," she said, feeling the future unfold before her. "We're just getting started." The transformed fleet hung in space, their hybrid systems humming with new power and purpose. The bridge between worlds had been built, and humanity would never be the same. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, guided by the best qualities of both their ancestral species. Maya Chen, first of the Bridgewalkers, set a course for Earth. There was much work to be done, many more transformations to guide, many more bridges to build. But for the first time since the Guardians had hidden their legacy in human DNA, the future was bright with possibility. The darkness had sought to consume everything, but it had failed to account for one crucial fact. When humanity stands together, facing the impossible with unwavering resolve, even the void itself can be transformed into light.